There was a time when a political scandal could end a career. One recording, one document, one moment of shame. That America no longer exists. As we enter 2026, the United States isn't drowning in scandals. It's numb to them. This isn't about left versus right anymore. It's about power, decay, and a system that has stopped correcting itself. Welcome to Talk Maniac. Today we're breaking down America's dirty politics, the immigration crisis, and why nothing seems to stick anymore. Dirty politics used to be the exception. Now, it's the operating system. Federal power is increasingly used as leverage. Investigations feel selective. Enforcement feels political. Scandals no longer shock. They compete for attention. And the most dangerous thing happening right now is not corruption itself. It's normalization. After violent incidents in states like Minnesota and Oregon, the federal response was massive. Thousands of federal agents, large-scale immigration operations, communities placed under surveillance. The justification: fraud, money laundering, corruption in social programs. Let's be clear. Fraud exists. Criminal networks exploit government systems. That should be investigated. But here's the problem. Why does enforcement suddenly arrive at military scale only in certain states? Why Democratic-led states? Why immigrant-heavy communities? Why now, when federal power is deployed selectively, enforcement starts to look like punishment, justice stops being blind, and politics takes the wheel? Now let's talk honestly about immigration. America is not facing an immigration debate anymore. It's facing an immigration management collapse. Border crossings are chaotic. Processing systems are overwhelmed. Cities are breaking under pressure. Shelters are full. Housing is strained. Schools, hospitals, and courts are overloaded. And here's the first truth that gets buried. This crisis hurts immigrants first. When systems fail, the most vulnerable suffer the most. When the system fails, real people pay the price. Families sleep in crowded shelters, or even, on the floors of train stations. Cities struggle to stretch their budgets just to provide basic care. The human cost is, honestly, staggering. Republicans sell fear. Democrats sell compassion. But really, neither side sells capacity. Republicans talk about invasion. Democrats talk about morality. But neither fixes the system. Because let's face it, fixing systems is boring. It means things like faster asylum decisions, real border processing infrastructure, work permits in months, not years, housing coordination, and federal-state cost-sharing. That kind of stuff just doesn't trend on social media. Outrage does. The truth is, meaningful reform is rarely exciting. It's the slow, steady work that actually solves problems, even if it doesn't make headlines. Yes, criminal exploitation exists. Yes, fraud should be prosecuted. But, enforcement without reform is theater. Raids without fixing backlogs don't restore order. They just relocate chaos. Targeting communities without fixing processing creates fear, not control. And, honestly, fear pushes people underground. That's exactly where crime and exploitation thrive. If the goal is stability, chaos is a failure strategy. Democrats made their own critical mistake: symbolic openness without capacity planning. Inviting migrants into cities with no housing, no jobs, and no legal clarity is not compassion. It's abandonment with better branding. Sanctuary slogans don't build infrastructure. Good intentions don't replace logistics. And, cities are now quietly begging for federal help. Sometimes, even the best intentions run into hard limits. Cities put up sanctuary signs and try to help, but shelters become overcrowded, and resources just can't keep up. Here's the part no one wants to talk about. There is now an immigration economy. Billions flow through federal contracts, NGOs, temporary shelters, and consultants. Some organizations do real work, but others, they become permanent middlemen. When a crisis never ends, someone is getting paid for that. So, ask a simple question. Who benefits when immigration chaos becomes permanent? Behind the scenes, it's not always clear who profits from all this chaos, but when you follow the money, it becomes obvious that some groups and individuals stand to gain when the system stays broken. So, this erosion doesn't stop at immigration. Independent institutions are under pressure. Courts, regulators, even the central bank. When investigations start to follow political disagreement, institutions lose their independence. And when institutions fall, nothing really checks executive power. That's not democracy, that's drift. Studies of hundreds of political scandals show a clear trend. Fewer resignations, shorter attention spans, almost no consequences. Scandals used to end careers, now they barely interrupt fundraising. This is how systems rot, not with tanks, not with coups, with exhaustion. America still lectures the world about democracy, but the world is watching America closely. Selective enforcement, political investigations, personal enrichment, permanent crisis management. This isn't stability, it's a warning phase. And here's the hard truth. This doesn't end with one leader, or one party. It ends only when voters stop rewarding chaos and start demanding competence. Until then, dirty politics isn't a flaw, it's the business model. This is Talk Maniac. Stay alert, stay skeptical. Because systems don't collapse loudly, they decay quietly.